Chapter 1074. She cried in her mouth and muttered, "My son, my grandson, you too have suffered." Harold was aggrieved like a child, wiped his eyes and choked with tears. "Grandma, you don't know what kind of hardships my dad and I have had during this period of time. This is the hardship I have never had in my life. Eat it all." Michael also sighed and said, "Hey, it's all the same, so don't talk about those things, it will only increase your troubles." Lady Richard nodded, and hurriedly asked, "By the way, Michael, what the hell is going on? Who is the one who released us on bail?" "I don't know." Michael shook his head and said, "I and Harold were also taken out suddenly, and then their car sent us here and let us wait here. Neither know who they are." At this time, the man who picked up Mrs. Richard and Olivia from the detention center quickly walked up to a family of 4 and said, "Introduce myself, my name is Andy Whale. I belong to the Whale family of Southern Region. My brother is called Fury, you should have heard of it." Whale family? The 4 members of the Richard family were stunned. How could they not know the Whale family? The Whale family is the #1 family in the south of the Yangtze River, much better than the Adair family. When the old man of the Whale family was in the limelight, his legend circulated throughout South Haven. At that time, the old man Richard always talked about the old man of the Whale family every day, and regarded him as an idol worthy of imitation efforts. The Richard family never dreamed that they could have a relationship with the Whale family, and this time it was the Whale family who rescued them. This is really amazing. Does the Richard family need time to run? Thinking of this, the Lady Richard flatly smiled at Andy Whale and asked, "Mr. Whale, may I ask, you brought us out and then brought us here again, what are you doing?" Andy Whale said calmly, "I came to pick you up on my eldest brother's order, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to do to pick you up. But the time is urgent. Don't ask so many questions. Get on the plane first. My brother will naturally explain to you." When Mrs. Richard heard this, she nodded immediately and blurted out, "Mr. Whale said, we can't delay your time, let alone your brother's time. We should first get on the plane to Southern Region and meet your brother." "Right." Andy Whale nodded, and then didn't say a word, so he stepped onto the plane. The 4 members of the Richard family hurriedly followed behind him and boarded the plane. Michael and Harold had already boarded the plane just now, so when they got on the plane, they were not too surprised by the luxurious interior of the plane. But the Lady Richard and Olivia were dumbfounded. Where did they fly on any private jet? Usually I can't bear to go out by plane, even first class, let alone a private jet. Therefore, the Lady Richard is like Grandma who has entered the Grandview garden. Her eyes are dripping and she doesn't know where to stay. Andy Whale couldn't look down on this family in his heart. He always felt that sitting in the same plane with such a bunch of old hats was a bit uncomfortable. So he greeted the charming stewardess, poured him a glass of whiskey, and then asked him to give himself a steam blindfold. The stewardess in the miniskirt writhed her plump body, waited on Andy Whale to finish drinking, and waited on him again. He put on his blindfold, put his ears close to his ears, and said, "You have to rest first, the plane will soon, it's about to take off, call me if you need to." Harold looked at it from the seat behind. This flight attendant is also too beautiful, and she is just trying to catch up with Andy Whale. If she could serve herself in this way, how great! Thinking of this, he hurriedly said to the flight attendant, "Hello, can you please bring me a glass of wine?" After serving Andy Whale, the stewardess stood up, pulled her skirt down, and said disdainfully, "I'm sorry, I am Mr. Whale's personal flight attendant, and I don't serve other people."